I start, just so you guys know, we are going to record this workshop, or Michelle will, in the case that if you guys want to email us back and if you want the video or just the slides for reference, please feel free to do so. But yeah, so welcome to Law School 101 with GIP. My name is Ashley Ramirez. I am a junior, double majoring in sociology and legal studies. This is my first year working for GIP or EOP, and I'm very nervous. It's my first solo workshop, but I have Anne Michelle here, and she's kind of an expert. So, Anne Michelle, do you want to present yourself?
Oh, not an expert at all, but thank you very much. My name is Anne Michelle Sotelo. Nice to meet you all. We'll virtually meet you. I'm a fourth-year student, my second year with GIP, so I have a little bit of experience. But trust me, Ashley here got to like she has to handle. And yeah, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a triple major, double major slash combined major. I don't know how you guys want to call it, but like I'm doing politics, legal studies, and Latin American studies. And yeah, let's start with Law School 101. We are already recording, so if you guys want to like drop your questions in the chat, we'll be answering at the end, and feel free to drop them as we go. You don't have to wait till the end, but they will be answered at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, she or hers. Sorry about that. All right, so moving on. So for the agenda of today, in case you guys are taking notes and you want to know like what we're going to be doing, so first we'll go over types of law degrees. We'll go over ABA versus non-ABA. We'll go over the requirements for law school. We'll go over LSAT and the LSAT Flex, LSAT account, application, and the timeline of how you would apply to law school. Just so you guys are aware what we're doing today. Okay, so where do I start? So types of law degrees. There's multiple types of law degrees. I'm sure most of you are looking for your JD, but we'll go over them. JD, your Juris Doctorate, is the first degree in law in the U.S. You need to take the bar and to qualify. Needed to take the bar and qualify to practice as an attorney. So if you want to practice law, you would need to pass the bar exam, and then you'd be a practicing attorney. So then you have your Master's of Law. It's a secondary degree. You must have a JD and pass the bar exam. It's a program for studying a specific area of law. And then you have your Master's of Legal Studies or Master's of Science and Law. It's a graduate program in legal and law studies. This is intended to not practice law. And then you have legal certificate programs. These are basic legal knowledge or in-depth study in specific focus. I'm going to get rid of this. And then you have your Doctor of Science of Law, your JSD or SJD. That's a research doctorate degree. So then you have fields of law. You have animal law, civil rights law, corporate, criminal education, employment and labor, environmental and natural resources, family and juvenile, health, immigration, can't pronounce that, I'm so sorry, real estate, securities, sports, entertainment, tax, and there's so much more. My friend was going to sit with me with it yesterday. She told me to mention you guys that there is also a fashion law degree, by the way. But yeah, these are just a few lists. So do I need an area of focus in law? Not going in. So once you start law school, you do not need to know what law you want to get into. Depending on what type of law you want to practice, some schools will be better matched for you than others. Faculty, so something to consider when applying to law school is the faculty in what area they specify in, the coursework for the degree that you want to receive, opportunities at the university for that area of focus. Something to also think about is like what the area that the school is at, if that area is more beneficial to the type of law that you want to do. Do I need a specific major to go to law school? No. You can have any undergraduate degree in any major. No advantage to have one major over the other. So something to consider though is what skills did you develop in your undergraduate degree that is relevant to your future work in law school? Aw, thank you, Layla. Okay, so what should I look for in a prospective law school? So ABA accredited versus non-ABA accredited. So ABA stands for the American Bar Association. So There are more options when a school is ABA accredited. So what that means is that that school allows you to take the bar exam in another state. If it's non-ABA accredited, that school limits you to where you can take the bar exam. So mostly in that state that the school is in, and it limits the areas where you could practice law. So basically, when you start researching schools, look into every individual school and what they offer. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Sorry, I can't see anybody. Okay.
Would it be okay to ask a question about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was reading online that when you pass the California bar, or like when you graduate from a California school and pass the California bar, it's not like the multi-state bar exam, or that like you are only limited to practice in California. Is that correct, even with an ABA accredited?
That's correct. So basically, when you take the bar anywhere, when you choose to take the bar, you take the bar. So let's say you go to a school that's ABA accredited. You're allowed to go to a different state to take the bar exam if you want to. If you go to a law school that is non-ABA accredited, you have to take the bar in that state of that school. And then once you pass the bar in that state, you could only practice law in that state if you go to an ABA school, you could then move to a different state, but you have to retake the bar again in that state. Every bar exam is different in every state. Does that make sense? Sorry, that was kind of confusing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did read though that there's like 13 states or something that are encompassed on the multi-state bar exam that you only have to take once.
There is a certain exam that I unfortunately don't have the name from the top of my head, but there is a couple of states that have like this kind of pact or understanding that if you take a certain exam within one of those states that have that coalition kind of thing, you can practice in multiple states. However, that is a really specific scenario, so you would have to like do a more in-depth research in that specific topic. Although it is possible, it is not. It is not a popular route just because it is really specific. Nonetheless, possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Something that I am aware of though, and I have heard, is that California has the hardest bar exam in the US. So if you pass it here, I think you'll do well in the other states too if you decide to move. Thank you, Anne Michelle. And thank you for your question. So ABA approved schools in California are Berkeley, Davis, UC Hastings, Irvine, UCLA, California Western, Chapman, Golden Gate, Laverne, Loyola, University of the Pacific, Pepperdine, San Diego, San Francisco, Santa Clara, USC, Southwestern, Stanford, Thomas Jefferson, and then Western State. So these are all pretty competitive schools. I'm not gonna lie, you don't have a lot of options in California, but these are your ABA approved. There are also other schools, but those are just not ABA approved. So requirements. What is the LSAT? So the LSAT, it's an exam for students who are pursuing law school. So with the exam, they're looking for reading comprehension, analytic reasoning, and logical reasoning. With the original LSAT, Hey Esmeralda. Okay, so with the original LSAT, and you'll see what I mean by original, you have 5 35-minute multiple choice sections, 35-minute writing sample, and so yeah. But more into that. So with the LSAT, you work on logical reasoning. With logical reasoning, it tests your ability to determine main points of arguments, apply logic to abstract concepts, find relevant information within the text, and analyze and evaluate arguments. With analytical reasoning, or otherwise known as logic games, I don't know if you guys have taken logic yet, but that's kind of what you'd be doing. It tests your ability to understand effects of rules on decisions and outcomes, determine relationships between concepts, analyze situations, and draw conclusions based on a set of guidelines, and apply logic to ambiguous or complex situations. With the reading comprehension, what you'll be doing is you'll be testing your ability to draw inference based on text, determine main ideas of passages, find relevant information within a text, understand a dense scholarly text. And then the variable section, this is, you will not know going in. You will find out what this is once you get to your exam, you start working on it. It could either be arguments, gains, or reading comprehension. It just depends on the day. And then the writing sample. The writing sample you'll actually take before your exam at home as of now. Yeah, no, that's a 35-minute like writing thing. And it's unscored. So basically they're just looking to see how you form an argument. And yeah, you'll do that at home on your own time. So now the LSAT Flex. Due to COVID, the LSAT is being done differently now. They're no longer doing it like in a building in person with other people. You are now doing it from home. So the LSAT Flex, instead of 5 sections, it's 3 sections, well actually 4, because you're still going to do your writing sample, but that's at a different time. So with the LSAT Flex, you'll be doing 1 logical reasoning, 1 reading comprehension, and 1 analytic reasoning. So you'll be using ProctorU. I don't know if you guys have ever used that. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but that's what you'll be using. You get no breaks with the LSAT. You actually get 1 break, but not with the LSAT Flex. And it's about 2 hours. And because it's still so new, they're still evolving the situation, but you know, it's a thing. But with both of them though, the max score is 180, lowest score is 120. The usual average is 150, but that's definitely something to look into with the law schools that you're looking into and like what their requirements are score-wise. Your scores arrived after 3 to 4 weeks. It's administered through the LSAC, which is the account that you will be applying. You will be registering to. I'll tell you that later. The cost is usually $200, so definitely save up, look into waivers. Score preview. So basically, I know a little bit about this. What this means is only the first time you take your LSAT, you're able to pay to see your scores before they're sent out to the schools you registered for. And if you don't like those scores, you're able to cancel the whole LSAT, and the schools that you applied to because you register the schools before you take this LSAT, and then those schools will be sent. The score will not be aware at all that you even took the LSAT. That is only offered for the first time you take the LSAT. Yeah, okay. And then the unscored writing section, you still have this. You could have up to 5 sheets of paper. So then regarding how many times you can take the LSAT. So basically, annually in 1 year, you can take the LSAT 3 times. In 5 years, only 5 times, and in your lifetime, 7 times. So you can only take it 7 times like completely, but yeah, just keep that in mind when you're like trying to get a good score, that you are limited to the amount of times you could take it. Okay, and then the writing section. So the writing section is available 8 days prior to the testing date. So you submit 3 to 4 weeks prior to submission. That part was confusing. Your mandatory one-time sample submission. There is no separate signups. You're automatically like signed up for the writing sample when you register for the LSAT, and there are no additional fees. It is unscored. And then the admissions people, they read your essays to review your writing capabilities. And they used to offer like chess in the writing section, but they don't anymore. So then creating your LSAC account. So when you register for the LSAT, you have to sign up for your LSAC account. And then on this also, you could like look at databases for different law schools to see if they're ABA approved. And this is also where you would upload your documents such as your letter of recommendations, and you would keep track of your application here. Something to also think about is the CAS. So let's go on that website real quick. So your credential assembly service. Oh my God, is it loading? Okay, cool. So what this is that it's a simpler way of like getting your law school applications put out. So basically on here, you would put your transcripts, letter of recommendations, and any other documents that your school requires. And it will send it out all at one time. So all ABA approved law school applications are available electronically through your CAS account, as well as saving your time and effort. It combines your documents with your LSAT score and forwards a full report to all your schools that you apply to. There is a cost. The fee for your account is $195 and it remains active for 5 years. And it includes your transcripts, your law school report, letter of recs, and electronic application processing for all ABA approved law schools and some non-ABA approved law schools. There are free waivers available for like extreme cases, so make sure you look into that before you just pay for it. And yeah, you just go on the LSAC. You create your lsac.org account and then you pay for your fee. Okay, how do I go back to this? Okay, cool. So then LSAT Flex, LSAT or nothing. So because of COVID, some schools are saying that they don't require it, but that's not all law schools. So make sure you research like profoundly like what's going on with your school. Everybody is accepting the LSAT Flex. The LSAC even said, we have not received any indication from any member school that they will not accept the LSAT Flex as a valid part of a candidate's application. So yes, LSAT Flex is just fine. Some law schools are not requiring the LSAT this year, but should you still turn one in? Yes, you should, unless you don't do that well on like standardized tests, or if you have like a perfect GPA or like really good like internships and different things going for you. But I would say you should still submit a score. So then components of my law school application. So of course, your letter of recommendations. Preferably, you want to get these from an academic source, so your classes, from researchers, but letters from your jobs would also work too. But again, you want to make sure that these show what kind of a student you are and how hardworking you are, but also hopefully if you're able, make sure they connect to your professional career goals. So volunteer and internships would also do really well, especially if you worked in legal service or community organizations, but this is who you would want to receive it from, really. Statement of purpose or other writing prompts. So questions to think about when writing these is, why do you want to pursue law school? What do you want to achieve after? What difference do you want to make? Make sure to address all parts of the prompt and revise your statement to fit the questions that were asked for you. And then how do I pay for it? I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay. So waivers, definitely always look into waivers. I believe when you create your account, you might get a couple of free applications when you first sign up, but don't quote me on that. So yeah. Deadlines different from regular application deadlines, so make sure you research your schools. Each school is different. Make sure to keep track of each deadline. And then the price of applications for each school varies. Timelines to keep in mind. So this is a timeline part. So, okay. So 24 to 18 months before you actually start law school, what you want to be doing is researching law schools. So asking yourself, what does this school offer me? What resources do you have for students? And then if you want to be there full-time or part-time. I have a friend who went to law school during the nighttime because she worked in the morning, so she went at night, and she was also a full-time mom. So like that's things to consider. She finished in 3 years, but you know, it was a little bit harder, but those are just things to look into. During this time, you also want to study for the LSAT. You have free LSAT prep on Khan Academy. Create your LSAT account, attend law school related workshops like you're doing right now. Good job. And then start thinking about your letter of recs and connecting to your professors and like telling them what you want and asking them about them, their research that way to see if you're able to make connections with them. And so then 18 to 15 months before you start law school, what you should be doing is taking the LSAT in the spring or summer, and then study and plan to retake it. So you should definitely have done some practice tests already. And then based on those practice tests, that should give you an idea as to whether you need to start like putting in money for like LSAT prep courses, because those are super expensive. So you don't want to just pay for that right away. You want to pay for it and only if you really need it, which is why you should practice on your own first and then see if you need more help. But yes. So 14 to 12 months before you start law school, you want to finalize your list of law schools that you want to apply to, request law school applications and information packets from those schools, and then begin reaching out for letter of recommendations. 12 to 10 months before you start law school, you want to officially like have some letter of recommendations like down. Begin drafting your resume, begin drafting your personal statement and additional writing prompts that they might have asked of you. And then definitely look into scholarships and start applying for financial aid. 10 to 8 months before you start law school, take the LSAT again if you feel like you need to. Continue working on your resume and personal statements. Complete your CSA report. So that means your academic summary, your GPA, your LSAT scores, and put up your transcripts, letter of recommendations, and pay the $195 fee if you couldn't get a waiver. And then the cost per school that you'll put on there is $45. And so then 7 to 5 months before you start law school is you'll review your application and submit. Make sure you pay attention to the deadlines because again, remember, each school is different. So working while in law school. So many schools prefer that their first students do not work their first year. But again, like everybody has their own thing going for them. So consider part-time or full-time programs. Think about what jobs or just that you want to do during school and like how would that help you alleviate costs for school. And so in funding law school, generally through scholarships, so post-grad scholarships that you would find online to start applying to, scholarships by the schools. These will usually, they'll give you based off like your application and like if you qualify for them, and then look into loans, repayment programs too if you feel like you need those as well. And then if you're gonna take time off, a lot of people are just because of COVID. So during this time off, what you should be doing is study for the LSAT, build up your resume, job experiences, volunteer and work for internships. So when you do these, you usually do want them to be law firms or any sort of legal service. And then just expand your skills and experiences. Law schools are more inclined to accept people who actually do have like real job experience. They actually really like that. And then save up your money, of course. And then if you guys have any more questions, definitely reach out to other student clubs and orgs. The Career Center also offers advising and workshops. They're really good at looking over your resume and personal statements. Also reach out to us too. Our email is right there if you feel like you want us to go over your applications or your personal statements or anything of the sort. And any questions? Let's see the chat.
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Just wondering. Well, first, thank you so much for that presentation. That was really, really helpful. Doing this whole law school, like not really doing it, but just like preparing for it has been.
Just one thing, sorry.
I think about it.
Oh, wait, sorry.
To make the Q&A a little more easy for certain students, I'm gonna stop the recording now. So whatever questions you have, you can make them as specific or anything. We won't be recording this part. Just wanted to make that announcement to make everybody more comfortable at asking questions. This part will not be recorded.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Michelle.